This is Ken Johnston.
And this is Front Porch Political Talk Vlog. As promised in the last episode, this is still Saturday, November 27th. But you're seeing this at 2 o'clock on a Thursday. So thank you for joining us. And we will... I will not go through all of the business stuff that I went through on the previous episode. You can always go back to that one and watch. But the other thing that I did want to mention business-wise, we are going to work on some kind of intro video. So as we get this technology,
we're not working on nothing, Hat. We're going to put our kids to work on it.
Yeah, this is true.
We got a couple.
We're managing the work of.
We're supervising.
We're supervising.
We have 3 very musically talented kids between the 2 houses.
Yep.
So we'll get it. I'm going to put Aaron on something.
Cut him. We'll see between Aaron and CJ. We'll see what happens.
CJ's a composer. Aaron is not. So
yes.
We'll probably end up rolling with CJ's, but I'm going to give Aaron a crack at it too.
Absolutely. So a couple of things we're going to talk about in this episode. We're going to talk about law enforcement and the hindrances of hypocrisy and the hindrances of legislation. And then the other thing we're going to talk about is staffing and manpower and the manpower shortages that we're seeing. So I actually want to start with that one, if you don't mind, Ken.
That's fine.
Because it's interesting. The example that I gave to Ken earlier before the show was talking about my pharmacy, but understand my day job is I do IT for an HR company, and we have seen across all of our clients, everybody is hurting for people. It's interesting because you would think that people would be jumping on jobs as much as they can, and they're just not. People have decided that it's okay not to make, not to make a ton of money, or in some cases, people have decided it's okay to completely switch careers. Around here now, I don't know what the minimum wage is where you're at, Ken. In my part of New York, in New York City, it's already $15 an hour, but in my part of New York, effective January 1st, it is $13.50 an hour is minimum wage. There are signs on KFCs and McDonald's or Panera's offering $16 an hour starting wage.
Yep.
And that's a lot of money per hour to screw up making a McFlurry.
It is. There's McDonald's here in Winston that was advertising for day laborers, and it was $12 to $15 an hour per day. Yeah, come in and work. It will pay you at the end of your shift.
Yeah, and I know our client. Where I work, our clients have been having issues. We've been having issues just finding skilled individuals, and it's not just at the entry level. There has been if you go online, you search for the Great Resignation. People are leaving their jobs across the country.
Yeah.
Because either A, they figured out how to make it work on a gig economy or on less money, or B, they just don't want to do it anymore, or C, as is my specific example that I shared with Ken, they think they can do it better than their old job, and they can do it better on their own. So the example I gave was actually my pharmacy. I go because of a variety of reasons. I'm at the pharmacy at least 4 times a month, picking up prescriptions for my family. And it used to be that, I would call the doctor's office, have them send in the prescription, and I'd get a text back saying that it was too soon. And then I'd get a text on the day that it was ready. And I'd go through the drive-through, pick up the prescription, say, see you in a week, and repeat that for the next week. And then
Right.
not exactly every week, but you get the idea. Now, because the pharmacist decided, I think I can do this better, and is renovating a building and opening his own pharmacy, they are so short-staffed that I don't get that text that says too early. And I don't get the text that says, okay, your prescription's ready to pick up. I have to call, and calling the pharmacy requires me to, go through the phone tree. When you press 1, press 3 for the pharmacy, or
Yeah.
I have to do that 3 to 4 times before somebody is able to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to sound like I'm complaining about the people that are actually working at the pharmacy, because they're working their butt off.
Right.
It's the fact that they are so understaffed that they don't have enough time to pick up the phone,
Right.
and answer the call.
You're sitting there, the phone's ringing. I've been in the pharmacy. I watch the phone ring and ring and ring and ring and ring.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it was actually rather maddening, because last month I tried calling in, and I had this experience where I called in, and I went through, 3 or 4 times, and then it would come up. It would come up as, the phone would answer, and it would just be dead silence, and then it'd hang up.
Yeah.
And so I was livid. So I went into the pharmacy, and I started to rip into in my brain. I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to rip into this manager? Because he's got name tag, so-and-so, pharmacy manager. And then I thought about it and said, okay, Hatton, how would you rather be dealt with on this?
Right.
And I said, you might want to check the handset on your phone, because I think you probably have a loose cord. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I tried to call in today, and ring, I went through the menu tree like 4 or 5 times, and then when it picked up, there was nobody there. He goes, I bet I know which phone you're talking. I answered 3 calls on it earlier today, and there was nobody on the side, and I couldn't hear anything. I said, well, it's probably the phone cord. It's probably either slipped loose, or the cord itself is bad, or whatever. He goes, okay, thanks for letting me know. And sure enough, I called today. I got through to somebody without a problem.
Well, it's when you handle a problem like that, when you come across as trying to inform or educate people,
yep,
it usually goes better. At a restaurant, Tijuana Flats.
Yep.
We went in after the lunch rush before dinner, and the rice was crispy.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I was so hungry. I ate it. I know what it is. It's the bottom of the rice pot, the rice cooker.
Yep.
I don't care. I'm too hungry. But I told the manager, and he got me. He's like, "Oh, okay. You want me to get you some more?" I said, "No, I'm full. I ate it. I was hungry." But before somebody else comes in here who will complain about it,
make more.
I'm not complaining. My plate is empty. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, well, thank you," and he left. And he came back out about 5 minutes later, and he had a stack of coupons. He says, "Do me a favor, just don't use them all at the same time."
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. No, it is, in our episode on Monday, we talked about, communicating.
Yeah.
It's funny, because one of the things that I have heard the rise of is the rise of the Karen.
Yeah, well, that's entitled people that think that they just have to get heard, and you have to do what they tell you to.
Yeah, exactly. So,
here's the other thing I want to point out
mm-hmm.
about a lot of these videos that are going up on YouTube. they're so ridiculous. I think they're staged. I'm really believing a lot of these are staged.
Yeah, the ones that I've been hearing, I've gotten addicted to what's called Reddit readers. So these guys, they go and they pick, a poster from r/entitled people or
Right.
pro revenge or any of those, and they're only as good as the validity of the person that writes the post.
Right.
And one came back to bite one in the butt because it was you remember the guy that turned the tractor into the tank? There was a guy who turned a tractor into a tank. This was some time back. Well, that came across the Reddit reading, and whoever wrote the post on Reddit changed the outcome of the story so that he survived. And the comments were like, "I'm never going to listen to this guy again." Dude,
yeah,
you're only as good as your source material, which kind of leads us to our next article. Now, this is not an article. This is a post on Facebook by the Niagara County Sheriff. Okay, and he starts talking about a car chase that happened in Niagara County, New York, and they in Niagara County, they have the Niagara County Sheriff, and then some of the localities. So Lockport, which is the county seat, Wheatfield is one of the big towns. They have their own police, and Niagara Falls has its own police. Tonawanda does as well, but not every locality has its own police. So like the town that I live in we don't have our own police. We just use Niagara County Sheriff.
Right.
But just like the state police have jurisdiction across the entire state, the county sheriffs have jurisdiction over the entire county. So they were able to cross lines and all that. Well, this guy, this sheriff is an elected position, and he's talking about his deputies, and this event, and he goes into detail, talking. But one of the interesting things, and what was very interesting about this, was how hindered local law enforcement is based on legislative decisions. He speaks specifically to the change in criminal justice reform in New York State. Bail reform means that most people, so this driver of this vehicle, so this was a car chase that crossed multiple town lines, that started at 2:10 in the morning, went through 2:30 in the morning, and there was more of a chase, including a tire strip deployment, and ended up, in Niagara Falls. So across the entire county, he was charged with multiple felonies, and all they could do was issue him an appearance ticket.
Former Norfolk Police Lieutenant William Kelly.
And that one is starting again. I don't know why my videos are auto playing. It's like the 5th time that's happened. So
I don't get that.
Yeah.
Didn't spend the night in jail?
Didn't even spend a night in jail. He was issued an appearance ticket and let go. And there were two. So the driver was 22 and the other two guys were 17. That's also what drives me crazy about these things. Is you've got these, you got one guy of age and multiple people underage involved in things like this. But this is the direct result of the liberal New York State legislature passing laws that make it harder for police to do their job.
Right.
You know, and this is the defund the police concept.
Right.
This is this is the same political party that is supporting, having departments of, how do they phrase it?
Public safety.
Of what?
Public safety.
Yeah, Department of Public Safety, rather than a police department. This is and saying, yes, the jails are crowded. So rather than change change the sentencing laws, or building more prisons, or training, funding for police officers to have better interaction with their communities, they just say, screw it, let them all go.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
And that's one of those things that, it's infuriating. And here's the other thing, Ken. Guess what goes into effect on January 1st?
What's that?
In New York State? Recreational marijuana. My only hope with that is that the impact of whatever strains they decide to sell in the dispensaries has more of a calming effect. So it's like, no, dude, I'm not going to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's going to be, yet another challenge for law enforcement across the state.
Yeah. When it comes to recreational marijuana, I sit on the fence.
That whole thing, we're going to need a recording on its own for.
Oh, absolutely.
I've already got a push pin in the calendar on that one.
Nice.
So the other article, and we need to keep this one quick because we're almost out of time. And if this thing starts again, I'm going to beat some. There was the Norfolk police officer who was fired for donating to Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yes.
He donated anonymously. It was Lieutenant William Kelly. He's fighting to get his job back. But apparently his account was hacked, or the donations were hacked. And he had put a comment on there. Part of his statement was, "You did nothing wrong."
Right.
And
on the court case, he was found not guilty.
He was found not guilty. And because this whole thing has become a racially charged case, even the NAACP is fighting to keep this guy off the force. So, but you had an interesting bit of a I'm not going to say it's a non sequitur, but an interesting observation about this.
Well, yeah, his chief marked BLM rally in uniform. There's no hypocrisy.
Uniform. His chief for the for BLM rally in uniform, you said.
Yeah.
And yet this guy made a
anonymous $25 donation.
Yeah.
And got fired for supporting someone who was not guilty.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Again, comes back to that communication is hard.
It is.
That is probably going to be the recurring theme on this, for quite some time.
Well, there's also the entitlement. I'm the chief. I can do what I want.
Yep.
Well, no, you can't. But it is what it is.
Yeah, It is what it is. But we'll see what happens with those. So, I think with that, we've gone a little bit over, but that's okay.
A couple
I
minutes.
want to thank everybody for joining us today, and we'll have another episode on Saturday. So, thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and join us on Saturday. We may go live. I don't know. We may do another recording. Depends on kids, wives, and schedules.
Absolutely.
And of course, the news. So we'll talk on Saturday, where you will hear different words in a different order. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.
Good night, everybody.